Chapter 28, Silver Peak Mountain is located in the north of the city. Because there are many fully equipped warehouses at the foot of the mountain, it was once a place for large-scale commodity trading, so it is crowded. In recent years, this place often has large-scale gang conflicts, and occasionally there are small groups of small fry fighting each other. Gradually, the amount of goods exchanged decreased, and instead it became a place for gangs to accumulate goods. Serafina's car followed Theodore from afar, then followed him into warehouse number 9. All along the way, she was still wondering. Emily Martin and he had broken up a long time ago, broken up peacefully and had nothing to do with each other anymore. Why was her brother Alex Martin still looking for him? They could be considered relatives thanks to Vivian. Vivian's mother was Serafina's aunt, and Vivian's father was Emily's uncle. Back then, when the Ashford family was in decline, Winston Ashford married into the Beaumont family to save the family business, and his sister married the owner of a small private company, Martin. The company didn't grow strong, and there was no future in sight. After Alex Martin took over, he secretly went into smuggling with the mafia boss, and the Martin family's business situation improved a little. After Winston successfully expanded his company, he treated his wife badly, causing the relationship between the Beaumont and Ashford families to deteriorate. The Martin family, who were close to the Ashford family, naturally did not like the Beaumont family. The Beaumont family found the Martin family's smuggling business very shameless, and both sides were annoyed with each other. Serafina completely believed that if Theodore provoked Alex, he would absolutely not show mercy. A 27-year-old gangster fighting a 20-year-old super idiot, one could tell with just one toe who would be knocked out. After Theodore entered, Serafina also bent down to look inside. It was already past 8 in the morning. In the dim warehouse, Theodore's lone figure looked even more unsteady. In the warehouse, besides Alex, there was also Emily. Unlike her usual experienced appearance when standing in front of men, today Emily was clumsy and bowed her head, as if she had done something wrong and was afraid of being punished. Serafina didn't understand what was going on. Theodore spoke first, sounding very annoyed. "Didn't you want to tell me where that photo came from? What is Emily doing here?" Emily lost her composure, glanced at him, and whined to her brother, "Brother, forget it, let's go home." "Shut up." Alex growled softly, his angry voice echoing in the empty warehouse. "Very scary. Why did the Martin family give birth to a useless person like you? Being bullied like that and still enduring it?" Theodore roughly understood that he had been tricked. Serafina was alone at home, she might have left, and he wouldn't be able to find her again. He was furious. "Emily, are you crazy?" then turned around and was about to leave. Emily quickly shouted, "I'm pregnant." Theodore yelled back furiously, "What does it have to do with me if you're pregnant?" Before he could finish, Alex pushed him away. "Fuck, watch your words." Theodore got even angrier, pushing his hand away. "I broke up with your sister 5 months ago. Whose child she has, wait until she gives birth and do a DNA test to find out." Alex opened his mouth wide, staring at Emily in disbelief. Is he telling the truth? Emily twisted her arms and legs, still wanting to say something, but how could Alex not notice, roaring, "Tell me." Emily screamed, covering her ears and crying loudly, Don't ask any more. He has no money and no power. If you find out, you'll kill him." Alex was furious. He kicked over the iron barrel beside him. The loud clanging sound made people's hair stand on end. "You dare tell me, you got drunk and lost your virginity to Theodore, but the Beaumont family looks down on our family, they won't accept you, you virgin? Emily, you're really good at making up stories." Theodore almost wanted to vomit. "Alex, you still don't know how many guys your innocent and pure sister has slept with, right? It's not that she doesn't want to tell you, she doesn't even know whose child it is." Alex's eyes widened in surprise, but as soon as he saw his sister's evasive gaze, he knew that everything Theodore said was true. The warehouse immediately became as quiet as a dead land. His sister was always the person Alex wanted to protect the most. He had to deal with so many evil things, so he cherished his sister even more, seeing her existence as a spiritual nirvana, wanting to give her everything that was best. But he didn't expect that his 19-year-old sister would be pregnant. His face was cold as ice. not knowing who he was talking to. "You guys take her away, find a doctor to deal with the baby." Two other guys with expressionless faces came out from the corner, dragging Emily out of the warehouse door. Theodore was not interested at all, turning around again. But Alex shouted, "Stop." Theodore lost his patience. "What else do you want? You're making fun of my sister, you must apologize to my family." Theodore frowned. "If you knew what your sister was like in front of men, you would know that she was making fun of herself." Alex was so shocked that he gritted his teeth. He spoke each word harshly, coldly saying, "I know your family all look down on our family, but my family is not something you can mess with casually." Alex's true dream was to build the Martin family into a noble family. His mother came from a declining family. He had lived on the edge of the upper class since he was young, so he really wanted to aspire to the noble demeanor of a famous family, and also hoped that one day, wherever they went, their family would be the center of attention, and not forever ignored by others. That was why he devoted himself to nurturing Emily, hoping that she would become a lady, and wait until he had accumulated enough wealth before washing his hands of the sword, trying to erase his past, and starting over. However, the image of the first-generation lady of the noble Martin family in his heart had completely collapsed, and Theodore's current disdain made all the anger in his heart flare up. His eyes burned with raging flames. He was being looked down upon. No, his entire family was being looked down upon. The contempt that the Beaumont family had shown towards the Martin family for so many years was clearly reflected on this young man. The long-standing hatred erupted. Today he was determined to beat this Beaumont family's only son to death. He took a step back, clapped his hands, and 7 or 8 more men came out of the darkness. "Theodore, if you don't apologize, you'll die." Theodore was too lazy to curse back, so he just threw himself into the fight. Serafina was terrified, remembering how her younger brother was easily knocked down by her every time. What if her younger brother was beaten into a meat pie by this group? The most surprising thing was that her younger brother had knocked down 3 or 4 people in a flash. Alex's men were quite short, and there were many of them, so they were flustered. Theodore was tall and thin, and dodged the attacks very flexibly. Although he had not received formal training, boys knew how to fight more or less. In addition, he had been extremely angry these past few days, and wanted to vent his anger, so he was very ruthless. In the 5 days at the South Mountain Base, thanks to the intense physical training and close combat military style, his fighting skills had also increased by a few levels. Although he was not professional, he was still much stronger than before. But after all, the enemy was numerous and our side was few. After a few rounds, he had been hit quite a bit, and many black shoe prints had appeared on his white shirt. Serafina's mind was blank. She grabbed 2 broken iron pipes on the grass outside the warehouse, just stood up and saw someone pick up a long wooden stick on the ground, rushing towards Theodore who was fighting in the crowd. Theodore just turned his head and saw a sturdy wooden stick flying through the air, fiercely hitting him straight on the head. The speed was fast, the force was strong, he could not avoid it. If this stick hit, he would really die here today. His heart suddenly sank. In a flash all his thoughts disappeared. He didn't know why he remembered Serafina's back crying in despair. He wanted to find her to apologize. He didn't hate her, he didn't resent her, he shouldn't say that her life was a failure, he still had a lot of things he wanted to say. But he could only watch helplessly as the wooden stick came down. Crack, a deafening sound. Theodore trembled, a slender foot appeared before his eyes, and the long stick in the other guy's hand had become a short stick. Everyone was stunned. Where did this girl come from that she could kick and break such a big stick with her bare feet? One end of the stick was still rolling around on the ground. Serafina quickly retracted her leg, and after kicking the wooden stick, she started the next attack. Her movements were as smooth and seamless as flowing water and floating clouds. She was lightning fast, tightly grasping the tube in her hand, and after a while, she had already knocked back a few people. "Theodore," she turned around, throwing the remaining tube to him, "catch it." He was initially dazed, but he quickly came to his senses, caught the tube, and quickly knocked away a few people, and while the others were still panting, he rushed to her side. The two of them leaned against each other, carefully and vigilantly watching the group of people who were struggling to get up. He angrily said, "What are you doing here?" She was also not pleased. "No need to thank me." He was angry. "You followed me?" She rolled her eyes. "You want to discuss this now?" He also saw that the timing was not good, so he fell silent, but in the end his eyes lit up and he smiled. "I'll leave the people behind to you, don't cause me any trouble." She retaliated, "This sentence should be for you." Although they said that, the corners of both of their lips contained a relieved smile, and they quickly threw themselves into the battle. Serafina's martial arts were very good, and she also had a pipe as a weapon in her hand. Although the other party was a few men, they had exhausted their strength fighting Theodore before, and now they had to fight her, who had just arrived. Not only did she not get hurt, but she also beat them up miserably. Serafina's mood today was also not good. Vivian, Lily, William, Hannah, Theodore, mother, grandmother, all those people had made her suffer enough. Her heart had been suffocating for a long time. Today she really had to vent her anger to her heart's content. Clearly a girl, at first glance, pretty, fragile, and weak, but the more she fought, the more fierce she became, the more vicious she became, like a demon that killed gods and demons. She only needed 2 or 3 moves to knock down 3 or 4 men and flatten them. However, the phone rang at the wrong time and it wasn't even in her pocket. She looked at it, not knowing when it had fallen to the ground, and was about to pick it up when someone else took it. It was Alex Martin. She looked at him in confusion, and before she could say anything, he answered the phone, and said in a low voice to her astonished gaze, "Hello? Assistant? If you're the assistant, then I'll bother you to pick up the body of Miss Serafina Beaumont."